Hey guys, I'm going to share some quotes of mine with you. What you need to hear isn't always what you want to hear, and what you need to say isn't always what you want to say. The world was never sculpted by those who always took the path of least resistance. History does not remember those who saw every opportunity yet never seized a single one. Confidence and courage are often wasted on the incompetent, for they lack the competence to see their own incompetence. If competent people never find confidence and courage, then competence can never contribute to anything. This results in an incompetent and mediocre world. It's always easier to walk a flat field towards a prize you can see than climb a mountain toward one you can't see. You know deep down that the one on the mountain is far more likely to be worth the trip, mostly because so few people make the trip. But unless you can trust that notion, you won't burden yourself with the effort. Odin had two ravens, named Mind and Memory. Memory is a source of reference points for the mind, and the mind processes new information for the memory. One without the other is of little use. Challenges and hurdles will find you whether you like it or not, and you cannot escape them. Often, these inescapable challenges come with little or no reward, but that to avoid disaster. Then there are other challenges that present themselves to you with a choice to opt in or out. Usually, those come with big potential rewards. Don't let your bad experiences with the inescapable challenges of little reward make you shy away from the optional ones with big rewards. Trust that your efforts will not be in vain. The world is full of people who will readily tell you, or even sell you, what the purpose and meaning of life is. Who is any of them to tell? The single greatest thing you can do as a human being is to get the fuck over yourself. Repeatedly, as often as it takes. Only then will you be humbled to learn great lessons and teach great lessons. One of humanity's biggest problem is that we're not good enough at getting the fuck over ourselves. We won't always know the price of silence in a moment. Sorry about that. We won't always know the price of silence in a moment wherein words are needed, nor the price of words in a moment wherein silence is needed. All we know is that we do pay a price for both, and those moments are hard to identify correctly. Knowledge comes from information. Humility comes from suffering. Wisdom comes from experience as understood by humility. A person can be intelligent and arrogant, but there was never an arrogant wise man. If a person doesn't drop the armor of their own ego by the way of their own action, then life itself will eventually do it to them. It might take as long as to the moment they find themselves taking their last breaths alone, forgotten solitude. Icelandic proverb: I don't do anything for anyone who doesn't do anything for anyone. A joint Icelandic and Greenlandic proverb: you can never really tell your friends from your foes until the ice breaks. Foes, as in enemies, for those of you who are less versed in English. So yeah, you can never really tell your friends from your enemies until the ice breaks. Well, mostly because if you try and pull someone up who's just fallen through the ice, the odds are overwhelming that the ice is just going to keep breaking and there are going to be two of you dead rather than... So yeah, someone who pulls you out from falling through the ice, that is a friend. If a person wants you dead, for whatever reason or no reason at all, then that is the one person in the world you should want a conversation with. If at the end of that conversation you are still alive, you will have learned something. If you end up not alive, you can't do much about it anymore. But if you shy away from it, you'll live the rest of your life knowing there's someone out there actively looking for you. Death is not the worst thing in life. It is simply the discontinuation of it. The question is, what was that life for every day it existed before it was discontinued? The Viking Age Norse knew one crucial fact better than most: that the only thing that can make a person's life eternal is their reputation. The unsettling component of that is that a bad reputation is easily obtained and easily kept alive. Most people who clock their names into the history books in one day aren't really known for good things. Some things are individualistic in nature, some things collectivistic. Some events are a product of choice, some of chance. That said, the smallest possible unit is always the individual, and how that individual interacts with their environment. And that's where most of the work is done. You can do all the work you want on a group, but unless the work is individually adopted and adapted, none of it will materialize. One of the single greatest gifts of literature as a revolution is that it enabled human beings to collaborate and complement each other across generations. The fact that we can be inspired by and add on to the works of people who lived several centuries ago brings a multiplication effect into the ocean of wealth that is human creation and conception. A great teacher will give you everything he knows about a topic, but also everything he doesn't know, all of his flaws and limitations. You have to develop a realistic and deep understanding of your teacher as a person and yourself as a student. The same can be applied to your relationship with your parents. No one can ever truly know what's best for you unless they know what you truly consider wealth in your life. And you yourself, for that same reason, cannot know what is best for you either, unless you truly know. There's a lot you might perceive as wealth, but what is of value to you in the long run? A language morphs, much like a culture or an entire civilization morphs. Embedded within that is the experience of a people in a place over time. The continuation of humanity dealing with its progressing circumstance. And yeah, that's all for this batch. Hope I made some points there that make you think. Till next time, have a great day.